Thank you all for coming at such short notice to this emergency congress. But I'm sure you understand its importance. Now, the Parliament of Scottish Fairies would like to recognise that many of you have come a long way. So I'd like to thank our delegates from Murray, the Democratic Ghouls, from Fife, the Anarchist Vampire Collective, from Strathclyde, the Pixie Workers' Party. This event will be live tweeted, so we give our thanks for arranging that to the trolls. Apologies from the constituency of Loch Ness, but our delegate there is solely aquatic and could not travel. Welcome, everyone. The subject under discussion is independence for Scotland, the consequences of this for the fairy kingdom. Now, as you know, Scotland becoming a real nation will have disastrous consequences for its mythological creatures. In short, if Scotland is charging forwards into the future, no one will believe in fairy stories. I call upon our first speaker from Argyll and Bute, the Right Honourable Baroness Banshee. Thank you, the Right Honourable Bogle. Delegates, friends, I'm aware that here in this chamber many of you may not know how we banshees sustain ourselves, how we thrive. Well, I shall tell you. We feed off misery. It fills our souls. Our wailing is an expression of our hunger. Our staple diet is that most raw and nourishing of emotions, grief. And so we seek out death and loss. It was not only sheep and landlords that thrived during the Highland clearances. The banshees feasted. But 100 years ago, there came a bounty the like of which we had never experienced. War had begun in Europe, and 150,000 Scotsmen, 150,000 of our boys gloriously laid down their lives so that Great Britain could protect its empire. The mourning among the women and children left behind was overwhelming. I can still taste it, that heady, raw, uncooked flavour. And so I call upon this house, this sacred place, to remember that suffering, to remember that great war is now 100 years old. Yes, there have been other imperial adventures for our boys from Suez to Afghanistan, but none have brought the same plentiful supply of souls to the banshees' supper table. So let us commemorate. We must never forget. Let the memory haunt every hillside and glen. If the Scots are so willing to die, who are we, fairies, to protect them? We must appeal to that sense of servitude. We must ensure that suffering continues. We must create a permanent sense of doom, or otherwise we are doomed. They must vote no. Thank you, Baroness Banshee, for that historical perspective. And please, during the speeches, if the Shetland Society of Shapeshifters could stick to the one form. It's very distracting. 1 minute you're Scots, the next you're Vikings. Make up your minds. Our next speaker represents the seal creatures of the islands. Please welcome the Star of the North, the Queen of the Seas, the fisherman's friend, Lady Selkie. Thank you. I'm sorry, Baroness Banshee, but that was too depressing. Who wants to hear about war? Who wants to hear about death? Is that why you came out tonight? No, you came out for a good time, am I right? Yeah. Am I right? Yeah. We should be trying to persuade the Scots to come up. There's no point in bringing them down. Trust me, we Selkies have great experience in that field. Imagine you're a sailor. The waves are crashing all over the deck. You're cold, you're tired, you're hungry, and you haven't seen a woman in about a fortnight. You glance out, and what do you see? A beautiful female casually arranging herself around a nearby rock, just combing her hair, singing herself a wee song. Don't you wish your Selkie was hot like me? She glances up, sees you looking. She's topless. Then she just curls a finger, beckoning you forwards. And before you know it, you're up to your forehead in brine. Now, is that going to happen if I'm sitting on that rock, spraffing on about war and sacrifice and death? Nobody wants to hear it. Take it from a Selkie. We should be entertainers. That's how you get the crowds in. You magic them with glamour and fireworks and Olympic Games opening ceremonies. I mean, switch on your television. What would you rather see? Food banks open across Glasgow as living standards plummet. Or, yes, welcome everyone to the Great British Bake Off. Or, what's Alfie Moon without his cat? Or, and there they are, the royal couple, William and Kate, and look, they're smiling. You see my point? We are fairies, enchanters. We should use our powers to seduce the Scots. That's what'll get them voting no. You bewitch the media, you bewitch the people. All we need to do is put some Union Jacks on some Topshop bags, chuck about the words Team GB, then just keep calm and carry on. It's all under control. Thank you, Lady Selkie, that was great. Really nice tonight. Our final speaker of the day is the reason we're all here. The Right Honourable Fairy who tabled the motion against independence, all the way from Faslane Naval Base, Lord Black Donald. With all due respect to my right honourable fairy colleagues, one thing and one thing alone will win this day. History, Lady Banshee, can be dismissed by those living in the present as simply irrelevant. And seduction, Lady Selkie, as well, seductive. But can always be resisted by those with the will to do so. There is, however, one emotion which triumphs over all others. A lifetime spent roaming these lands, a cold shadow spread before me, has taught me the value, above all else, of fear. Now, our work is partly done for us. The Scots are a fearful nation, aye, wary of the menacing tentacles of the future. They've been bred to feel inferior in status to their southern counterparts. All we need to do is exploit these insecurities, magnify them, and make the Scots believe that nothing better is possible. Let me give you an example. You. The case for Scottish independence, if you please. But what will you do when the oil runs out? You can't go crying back to the UK then, can you? Even though they've no idea what they're going to do when it runs out. And as for defence, well, you'd be the target for every two-bit bandit terrorist in the world without the strength of the great British security services to defend you. Why? You could be invaded by Ireland. What's that? Shipbuilding. Well, you know as well as I do that in the event of a yes vote, Westminster could shut down your shipbuilding industry with one click of the fingers. We hope you're listening, Govan. And you need a passport to get into England, who, by the way, you've abandoned to the Tories, even although that's who they keep voting for. And what currency will you be using? Sterling. Oh yes, sterling is it? If we let you. And let's think about those relatives in England. They'd be foreigners. Yes. Foreigners. Because we all know foreigners are a bad thing. And you'd certainly never see them again because there would be a 100-foot wall of ice on the border, like in Game of Thrones. Oh, to fulfill Alex Salmon's dream of being Scotland's first ever dictator. Because you know it's all about him, right? There's only one person in Scotland who actually wants independence. And he's just a bigot who hates the English. Because that's what this is all about, isn't it? Don't give me that guff about redistributing wealth and improving democracy and getting rid of nuclear weapons. You just want to round the English up into gulags and force feed them kilts and make them read the poetry of William McGonagall every day, don't you? No? Well, that's not what we're going to tell them. What's that? Norway. Norway! Don't make me laugh! Norway may have a massive oil fund, generous pension schemes, and full employment. But it costs £7 a pint! Or is it 40? Doesn't matter, just think how much a round is going to skin you. It can't be done. Independence is just not feasible. It's beyond your simple haggis-stuffed brains. It's not worth the effort. Say these things loud enough and often enough and fast enough and no one will be any the wiser and the media will transmit it for us, every single word, because we own them and you won't be able to watch EastEnders either, you mental, raving, hateful, cybernat monsters! Now, repeat after me. Too wee, too poor, too stupid. Too wee, too poor, too stupid. Too wee, too poor, too stupid. You see how easy this is? We've got this. One.
Poet, playwright, performer, Alan Bissett.